figured I would do a video on my experience with The Voice. So this was my first time auditioning for The Voice. I've auditioned twice for American Idol and didn't make it through the first round. But anywho, so yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a taste of what it's like and all that good stuff. Also, just gonna say, I know my eyes look ratchet. Let me tell you about this. So I spent forever putting on freaking fake lashes because my eyes are a little small, so it makes them pop. And I'm outside the final waiting room, and I'm blinking, and I feel this eye right here, this one, it feels weird, and I look in the mirror, and the freaking lash is coming off, and I like try to like finagle it, and no, it's like I'm not staying on. So I literally had to take my lashes off before I went in, and I'm just like, seriously? Anyway, fun fact about true life before auditions. See, my audition was Saturday at 11 o'clock. There were 3 time slots on this day, but there were 3 days of auditions. There was a 7 a.m., 11 a.m., and 2 p.m. We got in line for my 11 a.m. audition at 9:30. Because from all the research that I had done, it's not like American Idol. You don't have to wait around all day. As long as you get there like a couple hours before your audition time, you're good. There was a good bit of waiting, but it didn't feel like it. Like, I mean, it moved pretty quickly. Waited outside for a while, and then after a certain point, you got inside, and unless you were a minor, whoever you had with you, if you had someone, could not come in. So, made it past that point, got in a very long line, almost like it kind of looked like the airport, and that's where we waited for a good hour, I would say, until they could check your ID. And then you went through almost like airport security of getting searched and looking through everything in your bag. And then you moved on to another line to where they registered your paperwork. And then after everyone's paperwork was registered, we went into the big waiting room. How do I explain it? It's almost like, it's kind of like a gym. It wasn't a gymnasium, but it's like that big. And there were 4 really huge sections of chairs, and 2 of them were already filled up, and we went into one of the sections. And they brought up like 4 past contestants from The Voice to like ramp everyone up, and there was one, well, there were a few people that were like going crazy, like singing songs to guitar and like screaming and ultimately making their voices worse. I just kind of kept to myself. I met 2 other girls that were really sweet and talked to them a little bit, but nothing crazy. We all kind of like just stayed to ourselves. Then after probably that, we probably waited there for about an hour or 2 until we were taken out in a line to wait in other smaller lines to go inside to audition. So all that took some time as well. Got in front of the audition room and had to wait probably a good 30 minutes. And then they called us in. And how it works, these roads. How it works is there are 2 rows of 5 chairs. So you have, it's like a V. You have 5 here, 5 here, and then the producer is at the front of the room. And there's a little X right in front of him where you stand. They called someone up first, but I was called up second to sing. I've looked for love in all the same old places, found the bottom of the bottle's always dry, but when you poured out your heart, I didn't waste it, 'cause there's nothing like your love to get me high. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a The producer doesn't make much eye contact. He stares at his computer and jots down notes the whole time, which is fine. And he asked me what my name was and what I would be singing. And I said, I'm Taylor, and I'll be singing Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. So I sang that. It was kind of cool because the first girl people clapped for, she wasn't like crazy good, no offense. But whenever I got done with my song, everyone like clapped and was like screaming and cheering. It was really sweet. But yeah, he told us in the beginning, you know, you'll have about a minute to sing. And his name was Tobin. Really cool guy, really supportive. I've heard some like terror stories about the producers, but he was really encouraging and just said, you know, kudos for chasing your dreams. Some people don't even have the opportunity to chase their dreams, so just keep after it. So yeah, after everyone sang, he said, you know, thank you all for coming out. I don't exactly remember everything he said, but he said, I'm going to be asking one person to stay, and this doesn't mean that they're going to advance on to the next round, but after I announce this person's name, everyone can leave. So he said, Taylor, can you stay with me? And of course I kept my cool and was like, yes, of course. And everyone left. He talked to me. He asked if I had ever auditioned for The Voice before, and I said no. And he just got to know me, asked me a few questions about myself, and then it was kind of weird. Like, he asked me again if I had auditioned for The Voice, and I said no. And then he asked me, you know, have you ever been on any other show? And I told him I'd auditioned for American Idol. And he said, well, what happened there? And I just told him they didn't accept me to the next round, which I meant to mention this too. So whenever he had me stay in the room, he asked me to sing a different song. So I sang Serpent Honey by Duffy, which I had prepared. Don't you be wasting all your money on syrup and honey, because I'm sweet enough. Don't you be using every minute on making living, because we've got our love. Won't you listen to me? 1, 2, 3. Baby, 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 won't you spend your time on me? And he actually told me that he liked that one even more than Tennessee Whiskey, and that was perfect for my voice. But he offered me, like, after that, he was like, okay, well, I'm going to give you some critiques or some advice. And at that point, I was like, oh, okay, you know, I'm not going to, you know, this is probably it for me. He's going to give me this advice, and that's going to be the end of it. And he just said, you have an incredible voice. And I know sometimes you'll do a little bit of a growl, and your voice does not need that. Like, you were too good for that. People who can't sing do that. So you don't have to do that whenever you come back. And he gave me a freaking long list of things not to sing. So he said, do not sing Etta James, don't sing any Sam Smith, don't sing Whitney Houston, don't sing Adele. I was like, okay, yes sir, absolutely, gonna take your advice. Then you go out, and a producer, or like, no, not a producer, someone who works for NBC, escorts you to this waiting room with other people who got a red card, which is what it is, it's a red card. And then they write down your callback time and where it is, and everything that you need, or everything that you need to prepare is on that card. Stupid on me didn't bring my guitar with me, because I didn't want to be all hopeful and like think that I was going to make it through. And I also didn't think that callbacks were going to be so soon. I do regret not bringing my guitar, but on the long questionnaire that they have you fill out, they ask if you play an instrument, and if so, what. And I did put that I play guitar. Anyway, yeah, so part of that process is filling out this extremely long questionnaire where they pretty much learn everything that there ever is to know about you. Yeah, so that took me probably a good 4 hours, if not more. And then there's I swear, okay, it's probably not 20 pages, maybe it's 10 pages of really small print, but it's a release form where you're signing away your life, and it literally says in one point, if you disobey something, you have to pay $500,000. So I was like, okay, not paying $500,000. Read through all that, signed it, and then my callback was on Wednesday. So I had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to prepare. So 3 days to prepare. Mind you, I came with the intent of going back to North Carolina because I was scheduled for work on Monday. So that was a whole ordeal in itself. I prepared, and it was kind of hard for me to figure out what I wanted to sing, because things that I sing at my gigs and stuff are Sam Smith, John Legend, Adele. Not everything, because I think, you don't want to be too cliche, but you make it your own. But he specifically told me not to do those, so of course I'm going to take his advice, So I ended up preparing Syrup and Honey by Duffy, Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran, Titanium by David Guetta, and Love Me Like You Do by Ellie Goulding. So I struggled with what I wanted to offer, because they tell you to offer your strongest piece. I went back and forth because I felt like, maybe I should do Ellie Goulding. They probably don't hear a lot of that, but I didn't feel like it was true to my voice. I mean, it sounded good, but it wasn't as rich as it could have been. And then I was, thinking about maybe doing Thinking Out Loud, because I feel like I'm able to get some of my soulful sultriness out. But then I was, thinking, well, Syrup and Honey, he loved, why not just offer that one? I ended up going with Syrup and Honey, offering that. You go back to the callbacks, you wait for a while, which, I got there 30 minutes ahead of time, and they tell you to get there 15 minutes ahead of time. My audition time for this round was 11:40, and I got there at 11:10. Yeah, you go and you wait, and then they take you through the process. They get your paperwork, they check your ID 18 times to make sure you're not someone else, I don't know. And finally you go back. There are 3 places you wait, and then the last place you wait is before you go into the recording studio. And it's a really small setup. You don't go into a booth, or at least I didn't. And they have a small little stage. The producers are at a table. And ironically enough, Tobin, the producer that let me through, was there, which I had seen him coming in and out and knew he was going to be in there, so it didn't completely throw me off, but it kind of did throw me off. Then they just tell you there's a camera right behind us, that's where you need to send all your energy, your presence, blah blah blah. So now tell us your name, your age, and where you're from. And I told them all that jazz, and he asked me what I'd be singing, and I said Syrup and Honey, and he pulled it up on my little USB drive, and he's like, okay, here we go. So the music started playing, and I did my thing. Literally, I've never sang that song so well. And I say that a humble way, but I did very well. I just really wanted to focus on showing them my musicality, and not just yeah, I can hit these big notes and these low notes and high and blah blah blah, but I wanted to show them dynamics. I wanted to show them passion and the story and blah blah blah, and I did, and I'm proud of myself for that. And after that, Tobin, the crazy thing is, there were several producers, and after the song cut off, there was no whispering, they didn't talk to each other while I was singing. Tobin just made the decision, which was kind of crazy for me. He said that I wouldn't be making it through this go round, and to come back. And it kind of was, I don't know, it was just weird to me that they didn't discuss or didn't ask me any questions about my life, because this questionnaire literally, now the questionnaire was actually 20 pages long. Yeah, so he just made the final decision. and I wish I could remember exactly what he said. Pretty much he just said, your voice isn't exactly where we need it to be, so it's a no this time. I was just like, okay. And so there were a few different ways of like them telling you what the result was. I know some people got definite yeses. Like there was a girl before I went, whenever I was in the first waiting room, that I overheard her. She had been on the X Factor, she had been on American Idol, like through all these shows. Like there was another one, and so she got through. And I just saw so many people go through that didn't make it. And there was one girl, she was a minor, and her dad, in the last waiting room, they were asking the girl that was like in charge of all of us about to go in about like, what does it mean, you know, that they say they'll call you. And she was pretty much just like, well, it's not a definite yes, but they have your stuff on file in case they want to bring you back for another season, they can. Yeah, I mean, pretty much, they recorded, so there's a camera in the room and they record you. So they have me on file, you know, if and when I come back to audition again, they'll know that I've auditioned. I did come back. In the room, I was like, okay. And then I got in the car, and, you know, it wasn't the greatest of feelings. Obviously, if this is your dream and your passion, it's discouraging to hear no's, but that's part of the process, blah, blah, blah. But I think I find hope in the fact that Jordan had auditioned before and didn't make it through on this last season, and then he just won The Voice. Like, dude didn't make it through the first time and he just won the whole thing. I'd be like, what you gonna say now, producers? Because seriously, like, have you heard his voice? Oh yeah, and he told me that this was the biggest turnout in Philadelphia of all the seasons, everything combined. So, and he did say you should really feel honored and privileged to have made it out of the thousands of people that auditioned, have made it this far, and that really means something about your talent. So that was encouraging, I guess. Yeah, I hope that was informative. I know it's kind of all over the place. I think because, so like 30,000 people try out at each audition site, and I think they had like 5 audition sites. People who continue to chase their dream and come back and audition, I think they take those people. Like, there was a girl that I met that she had auditioned 3 other times and never made it to this round, past the first round of auditions. This is her 4th time, I think, and she made it. Well, she didn't make it through, but she made it through this first round. So for me, this was my first time auditioning, and I made it through the first round. So I think that says a lot, but I think if I continue to come back and just work on my craft, making it better, that they're going to notice that drive and that passion in me, just like they did with Jordan. Like, he didn't get through the first round at all, and he just won the thing. So I'm discouraged, but I'm also hopeful. And yeah, I mean, obviously it just wasn't meant to be this go round, but the experience was definitely a learning experience. Anyway, I know I've rambled, I've been all over the place. It's been a bumpy ride. We're in the car. I'm really hungry. And yeah, so if you have any questions about the process, comment below. But I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. If you have anything that you would want to hear me sing, comment below, let me know. That is pretty much all I have to say.